Think about this. In the middle of your daily routine, a steaming mug of coffee, the comforting light of daytime television, the jokes and laughter abruptly end, and the tears start to fall. That's exactly what occurred on Live with Kelly and Mark when Kelly Ripa, in an emotional farewell with her husband and co-host Mark Consuelos, found herself suppressing tears. This remarkable moment is what we're going to investigate today. Everything from the on-screen moments to the decades of joy, hardship, and triumph that culminated in this heartbreaking goodbye. Believe me when I say that you'll want to stay until the very end, because the story of family strength and the weight of saying goodbye is hidden in Kelly's tears. Mornings on Live tend to be more comedic. People watch because of the couple's obvious chemistry, the celebrity interviews, and the clever banter. On this particular morning, though, things were different. Kelly's smile appeared to be more delicate. Mark's usual self-assurance morphed into something more subdued. Plus, the whole atmosphere changed when Kelly eventually started crying. People were gasping for air. The entire studio was silent. This was no ordinary segment. A piece of history was made. At home, viewers leaned in, unsure if they were seeing a co-host's farewell or something more intimate. We must go across time to understand the significance of this moment. Over the past 20 years, Kelly Ripa has become an indispensable part of morning television. From her early days with Regis Philbin to her easy charm with Ryan Seacrest, Kelly created a gorgeous and relatable space in America's homes. She had more than that role. Millions of people looked up to her as a confidant, friend, and family member. Viewers felt like they knew her with every joke, story about her children, and glimpse inside her marriage. It wasn't simply Kelly's grief that she felt when she wept on air. Like ours, it seemed. However, this farewell was special for another reason. What a wonderful love tale it is based on. On the set of All My Children in 1995, Kelly and Mark initially crossed paths. It was a lightning-fast bond. A year later, they tied the knot in a modest, almost clandestine ceremony in Las Vegas. A tornado blew through. All of a sudden. Still, everything seemed predetermined. Laughter, difficulties, raising 3 children, and mutual support through their respective public eye occupations have characterized their nearly 30-year marriage. What they were, more than co-hosts or soulmates. So it was understandable that the millions watching Kelly bid farewell to Mark felt her anguish. Watching live television is full with surprises. Therein is its enchantment. However, this also implies that there is no script to rely on when emotions control the performance. Kelly didn't have a producer urging her to keep going that day when her voice cracked and her fingers went for the marks. There will be no commercial break to interrupt the present. The vulnerable in now were seen in an unscripted and genuine light. For the generation that followed her story, it served as a poignant reminder that even the most polished celebrities had human emotions like everyone else. And sometimes, the camera doesn't only record a program. In doing so, it affirms reality. Not only did Kelly's emotion wow onlookers, but Mark's reaction did as well. To ease the tension, he refrained from making a joke. He wasn't evasive. Rather, he stood silently by her side, taking her hand while his own eyes shimmered. Everything was conveyed by that one motion. Mark has been Kelly's rock for decades, whether they're filming or not. Through thick and thin, they have weathered the storms of family life and the demands of celebrity together. Standing by the side of the person you love when words fail is the most powerful form of support. And Mark brought that idea home to everyone in that time. With comments like, "I've watched Kelly for 20 years and never seen her this emotional." The internet went into a frenzy as the program went live. We seem to be losing a little bit of our morning with this farewell. Some even went so far as to draw parallels to the legendary goodbye shared by Regis and Kelly in the past. Many others felt the surge of support as well. Not only Kelly and Mark, what they represent, cooperation, comedy, and stability in an otherwise chaotic world, was the subject of the discussion. The tears were quite personal for many viewers, particularly those who had followed Kelly's story from the beginning. Whether it's on television or in real life, we tend to resist saying goodbye and accepting the inevitable march of time. It wasn't merely a goodbye as co-hosts. Kelly and Mark were parting ways. They were, in a sense, drawing to a close a chapter that had reminded the audience of their own stories, the long-lived marriages, the children, and the daily rituals that had become traditions. Leaving Mark from the program was like leaving a little bit of that history behind. Now things take an unexpected turn. Contrary to what viewers may have thought, the parting was really something quite different and, in many respects, more lasting than the co-host's farewell. Despite the rampant speculation, the reality remained unchanged. It was fatal. I thought I got it all out. The moment that broke Kelly Ripa on air, the one where she apologized, had nothing to do with her husband leaving the desk. It dealt with the death of a relative who had lived with them for 17 years. Beginning the show in February 2025, Mark Consuelos adopted a solemn and gloomy tone. He would later describe it as the heavy lifting, and he was the one who had to do it. The night before, he told the crowd they had to bid farewell to their cherished puppy. Hard to chew on. Farewells are never shocking for a 17-year-old dog, but they are devastating. Chewy was more than just a pet to Kelly. Her companionship was unwavering. Through her emotions, Kelly stated that Chewy remained a constant in her life despite all the changes. She cried every time our children departed for college and eventually moved out on their own. Only Chewy remains at home. The death of her was more than the death of a dog. It marked the last chapter in their lives as parents with a distinct finality. The nest has become utterly vacant. Your script's description of the tears takes place in this setting. In her attempt to keep it together, Kelly showed us her vulnerable and raw side. The audience heard her apology. While admitting that the world has far worse challenges, she expressed her shame at breaking down in front of you. But at that particular moment, she embodied the experience of every single individual who has ever been faced with the unimaginable choice regarding a pet. For all the empty nesters out there, she was the one holding on to the sliver of their children's youth. What you wrote about Mark's reaction was spot on. He was dead serious. It was not something he ignored. With his own sparkling eyes, he sat by his wife's side, giving her the silent strength to show her vulnerability to millions of onlookers. He reminisced about how they introduced Chewy to our children and how she ended up on the show. His validation of her grief was immense. There was a clear demonstration of the efficacy of collaboration there. When Kelly related her last moments with Chewy, it was the most tragic detail that conveyed the full extent of the loss. It was always off limits to kiss her face. According to Kelly, that dog was not her. Following her passing last night, I planted 1,000 kisses on her face. I leaned forward and kissed her on the nose. She was furious, and I know it because she was in dog paradise. Nevertheless, it was irrelevant to me. It was a delightful treat to have. A live broadcast of a deeply personal confession of love and loss. There was no misunderstanding during the actual social media boom. A flood of compassion washed over. The alternative part of bidding farewell is leaving home. Their world was shattered by more than just Chewy's death, which caused the most severe emotional breakdown. The script's allusions to speculation weren't made in a vacuum. A year of tremendous upheaval served as its fuel. Another heartbreaking farewell occurred in April of 2025, barely a few months after the first. Kelly and Mark were the ones bidding farewell this time. However, they were not bidding farewell to one another. As they left the studio, they said their goodbyes. 7 Lincoln Square had been the home of Live for 37 years. The show has never known anything other than that house. Regis Philin constructed the studio. The studio that Kelly Ripa had entered in 2001 was the one in question. The future queen of morning television was once a soap star. This was more than just a day of relocating. There had come an era's end. Their lives were on display in this studio. 3 of Kelly and Mark's children, Waken, Michael, and Lola, grew up in the wings. In an age before guaranteed maternity leave was a luxury, Kelly remembers taking them to work while balancing parenthood and a live show. Kelly and Mark's connection to this studio extended far beyond their children. Their love was literally salvaged by that place, as they disclosed during that 1996 final broadcast from the previous set. From All My Children came a young couple who went on and off again. They were recent breakups. Then Kathy Lee of Live with Regis and Kathy scheduled a piece featuring both of them. Not wanting to see each other, they both attempted to back out, but they were unable to. Standing on that stage, staring at Kelly, Mark had a lightning-fast epiphany. No choice I've ever made has been worse than this. She demands my undivided attention. I made an impromptu proposal right there on stage. Their elopement to Sin City took place the following day. So, Kelly Ripa's eyes welled up with emotions as she gazed at her husband on that platform for the final time. There was no co-host over whom she was upset. In doing so, she was bidding farewell to the same wood and molecules that contained the tale of her family's beginnings. In 1996, her fate was sealed in that room, and now she was shutting the door on it. For them, that was the past. They were grieving over that very moment in time, contrasting the rumors with the truth. Why, therefore, are there ongoing rumors if Mark was never absent? Why is so different from the script you discovered? Due to the fact that a number of different guest hosts have graced the live performance. Mark, who is a huge star in his own right, frequently takes vacations to film side gigs like his appearance on 911. In his absence, a well-known face, such as program host Javu or another celebrity, takes over. These brief, ordinary absences are fuel for the clickbait conflagration, reports in tabloids and gossip shows.